Hey everybody, welcome to the latest edition of the Diamond Discussion. I am your host, Demetrius Woods, and today we're going to jump right into the NCAA softball craziness with conference play going on right now. I've got some advice for the coaches as well as you players too. So with that being said, let's get it started. All right, guys, welcome to episode number 76. We are here, and listen, if you're watching this on video, I'm not going to sit here and disregard this beautiful view behind me. I'm standing right here in beautiful Queens, New York. Behind me, I've got Manhattan. Just got a chance to spend a wonderful time here in the city with the family and just getting a chance to explore this wonderful place while it's a lot warmer than it is in the wintertime. My wife is still trying to get me to move up here to New York. That's not going to happen anytime soon because, well, one, we love Nashville, and two, it's just too freaking cold, man. The winters are way too long up here. Those of you who live up in the New England states plus New York in the northeastern part of the country, let me know what you think about the cold, man. Is it brutal? Is it really that brutal? Am I being a baby about it? I don't know. I'm curious to know what you guys think about that. But man, without further ado, let's jump right into the NCAA softball world because we've had some crazy shakeups the last couple of weeks since we last talked. Actually, just upsets galore. I'm not going to talk about them today in our matchups, but I want to give a mad shout out right now to Oklahoma State because they continue their midweek upsets, and it's starting to become no longer an upset. Really, I mean the rankings show that as the case, but are the Cowgirls back? I think they are. You know, the Cowgirls are back, man, and they're right now they're vying for an opportunity to host a regional. And if dare I say, maybe even a supers, if it gets to that here down the stretch. So shout out to the Cowgirls of Oklahoma State, man. I hope they continue to roll on and continue to do what they do. And we'll see where that shakes out on the back end of the season, man. But I want to talk about five key matchups this weekend as we jump into, or further jump into conference play. And I want to kick it off in the SEC with Alabama visiting the Tennessee Lady Vols, right? You got number 3 Alabama coming in to Rocky Top visiting the number 11 Tennessee Lady Vols, and I think, guys, this one's about power versus pressure right now, okay? Because if you think about both of these teams and where they stand today, they both feed off of early momentum, and I think that might be the X factor of today's, or for today rather, for this weekend, is who in the world is going to jump out early in each of these three games, right? What are we going to see out of these teams? Who's going to make their move first? Who's going to blink first from a defensive standpoint? Because both teams have the pitching. There's no doubt about that at all. Obviously, Tennessee has Carlin Pickens, and she is an ace of all aces, right? But when you look at underneath the surface, man, for Alabama, they've somehow found a way to retool from last year, and they genuinely look like a top 5 team. They're sitting at top 3 right now, obviously, but they're huge, and they are making noise. And I firmly believe that they can go on the road here in Tennessee. As tough as the SEC is, they can go on the road and potentially sweep the Vols. And I'm not calling a sweep. I'm going to say they win 2 out of 3 on the road here. I think Colin Pickens wins her start for Tennessee. But man, Alabama looks good, and honestly, I failed to mention here, they have been one of the most timeliest of hitting teams in the SEC right now, and that's where I feel like that's going to set them apart from Tennessee in this series as it gets kicked off today. So let me know what you guys think, man. I think, like I said, at the end of the day, whatever happens in the early innings, I think the team that jumps out early is going to feed off of that momentum, and they may very well be able to keep it. I don't know if we're going to see a lot of late game comebacks because once one of these teams gain control, if they're able to, right? If they're able to gain that control, all bets are off from there. All right. Number 2, we've got the Georgia Bulldogs, man. Georgia Bulldogs heading out to Oklahoma to visit the Sooners, man. So listen, Georgia Bulldogs, top 15 ranked team in the country right now, facing off against the number 2 Oklahoma Sooners. This is going to be a big battle test for the Bulldogs. Not to say that Oklahoma will not be tested here at all, because they will. I think, Georgia is feisty, and they have continued, honestly, in the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 seasons, they've continued to build a reputation of a team that is a force to be reckoned with, and a team that continues to put others on upset alert. But can they jump over that hump? I think this series can be a testament to that. All right. If they can avoid the sweep, that's a win for Georgia, in my humble assessment. The series rather, is out in Oklahoma. That makes a big difference. And I think they're going to face a relentless amount of pressure from that Sooner lineup, right? I mean, they are just electric as they come. And, obviously, Oklahoma's the standard. They continue to prove that, even as a number 2 team right now. They are, in my opinion, the standard. And I'm not going to overlook Big Bad Nebraska, because they are up top at the moment. So shout out to Nebraska as well. But I still feel like the Sooners are the team to beat at the moment. That could change tomorrow. But right now, the Sooners are the team to beat, and the Bulldogs are going to have to play nearly perfect softball to get by them. And I want to know, from you guys, how do you feel about the Bulldogs' chances in Oklahoma? Now, if this game was in Athens, Georgia, let, let me be real. If this series was in Athens, I'd still feel the same way, honestly. But playing down in that little bit of a bowl that Oklahoma has built there out there at Love's Field, I think the Sooners get the sweep here. However, Georgia could very well take 1, 2 at best in this series. So, what you guys think, man? Does Georgia have enough to beat Oklahoma in this series and take it and potentially move on up in the rankings, man, beyond that number 13 where they are right now? So here we go. Number 3, listen, this is a battle in the ACC, and this is a battle that I'm really, really excited to watch unfold, because Clemson, time and time again, they're kind of in, they're out, they're in, they're out. They don't really know where they are. And when I talked about this at the beginning of the year, like, is Clemson really serious or not? And right now they're ranked number 24. And so I think getting a top 10 series victory against a very good Duke team right now, a Duke team that I think surprisingly looks better than they were last year, that would be huge for the Tigers. On the flip side, I continue to ask that question about Duke, right? Are they serious as well? Can they figure out a way to get over that hump? Not about these types of series. I think Duke has more to lose in this series than they have to win, primarily because I want to see Duke at the end of the season. I want to see Duke in the ACC tournament. I want to see Duke in the regionals, in the supers, right? Can they figure out a way to get back to Oklahoma City and be able to go and take on some of these powerhouse teams, right? I think this is a sneaky good matchup for Clemson. And honestly, if you look at Duke on the other side too, they're the more polished team. They've got the veteran experience as well. But the reason why I say this is a sneaky good matchup from Clemson's point of view is because Clemson has a lot to gain from this series. And let me just tell you, if they win 2 out of 3 at Duke, look out, because they're putting up a resume that's worthy. And I think Duke would severely drop 4 or 5 spots at least if they were to lose to Clemson in this series. What you guys got on that front? What you thinking there? All right. Next one. All right. My LSU Tigers, man. My LSU Tigers are going down to Mississippi State to face on the Bulldogs. And listen, you got a 14 seed LSU versus a 21 seed at Mississippi State. I think the winner of this series has a very good chance of hosting a regional matchup. Mississippi State has a lot to gain from this, but so does LSU. And honestly, for LSU and where they sit in the rankings here, they're really trying to just hold serve where they are right now. I don't know that there's a lot of room for them to move up unless teams like maybe Clemson were to take down Duke. Georgia falls to Oklahoma. But again, even if Georgia falls to Oklahoma, sitting at number 13, is that really going to bump them down too much? Probably not, because you're losing to a number 2 seeded team. Now, if they fall to Oklahoma bad to get swept, every game's ugly, or 2 out of 3 games are ugly. Different story for UGA there. I think they do fall closer to maybe 20 than they would, to 14 or 15. But for LSU and the Tigers, and the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Listen, I think this is grit versus grit right now, because both teams are good. Both teams have proven to be able to win close games, come back late as well. But I don't really know if today, if you ask me who's better, I couldn't tell you. I don't know who's better. But what I can tell you is that both teams need to be able to produce with runners in scoring position. The team that does that the best wins this series hands down. Because if you look at LSU, the way that they've been able to score, they've relied on their power with runners in score position. Mississippi State, they've relied a lot on just putting the ball in play, a booted ball here or there, taking the extra bag, doing what's necessary to scratch across a run or two to put themselves in position right now as the top 21 team. Listen, they could make it happen. And again, they're at home. So they can feed off of their crowd, much like Tennessee against Alabama, facing a better seeded program in the SEC. All bets are off. So you got to be ready day in and day out. And this is another test for the LSU Tigers, but also don't mistake it. Mississippi State is not just happy to be here. They're not a top 25 team by mistake. They're here. They're ready to play ball, and the LSU Tigers are going to have to show up on the road and figure out a way to at least win 2 out of 3 of these games, if not get the sweep, especially coming off of that Ole Miss sweep of last weekend. So last one here before the break. An in-state, I won't even call it a rivalry because it's not there yet. However, this is an in-state pester of the University of Florida. And I'm talking about the University of Central Florida, man. UCF, number 17 ranked, facing against the Florida Gators, number 7 in the country right now. The Gators look like a top 10 team right now. They look really, really good, and they look like they mean business at the moment because the way that pitching staff led by Keegan Rothrock and the way that they've been able to retool in the outfield specifically, that's what's going to make this series very interesting. UCF has been able to put the ball in play a lot throughout their conference play, and this is one of those non-conference, weekends for both of these ball clubs that I feel like is great for both of them. It's not a lose lose situation for Florida. This isn't a foregone conclusion that they're going to win this series necessarily because UCF continues to dominate their conference and they continue to make a statement against a lot of these SEC programs as well as some of the bigger Power Four conferences as well. So UCF versus UF. I got UF taking it, especially with it being down in Gainesville at their place. However, UCF picks off one of these games. Worst case scenario, they might even win the series. So curious to know what you guys think. UCF or Florida Gators, who you got in this series this weekend, guys. On the other side of this break, I'm going to come right back at you with a little bit of advice for our players out there, as well as you coaches, man. Just some thoughts that have come in my head the last week or so as I talked to some players around the country, as well as some coaches in the many communities around the southeastern part, specifically in Georgia and Tennessee, guys. So I'll be right back. All right, guys, welcome back here from the break. As I just mentioned, we're going to talk real quickly here to the players. I know you guys got things to do today, probably getting ready for some ball, maybe some tournament play, maybe some high school ball play, man. Whatever you guys got going on right now, softball, baseball wise, I'm so excited for you. Keep trucking along. But here's my little piece of advice for you, and it's very simple, man. Quit waiting to be chosen. All right. I know so many of you have talked about that I've discussed, had conversations with, hey, I want to be a leader on this team. I want to raise our stakes. I want to compete at a higher level for my team and do all those things that, standout players do. Great, do it, right? Don't wait for your name to be called. All right, you don't have to have that captaincy on your sleeve to be a captain or to be a leader or to compete at a higher level, right? You can go get it. You can do what you got to do to make it happen as a player. So that's my biggest piece of advice for you right now is go do that. Don't wait. Simply be where your feet are right now and say, listen, you know what? I'm not going to wait for coach to call on my name. I'm not going to wait maybe for a senior to graduate. No, I'm going to be here, be right now. I'm good enough, right? I have enough mental capacity. I've got enough leadership skills and competitive fervor to go out and be what I need to be for the program. Great, go do it. Do what you got to do on that front, right? Because that's, at the end of the day, that's what you want, right? You want to be able to be in that position as a junior, as a senior, to be able to go out, compete at a higher level, and set that example for those underclassmen, man. Be what you need to be for the whole program today, as a freshman, as a sophomore, regardless of where you are in your journey on that front. Okay. So players, that's for you. You can get out of here. I know you got to go do what you got to do. Coaches, for you guys, man, I got some questions for you. One of the things I wanted to ask you guys are specifically, are you developing right now? I know a lot of coaches, man, I've talked to the last couple of weeks, online, on the phone, whatever. It's been, hey, we're trying to win. We're trying to get to the finish line. We're trying to, work our way to the postseason, work our way to the playoffs. Jockey in our positions to be able to, be a better seed, which is all great things, right? Which are all great things. You got to have those types of things, and you got to be able to focus on the winning. But simultaneously, are you developing your players right now? And so, just as you're in the heat of battle at the moment, I just want to remind you, man, player development is mission critical just as the winning is, if not more, right? And that's easier said than done. I know right now in the grind of your season, but just remember, man, go back and make sure that we're developing ladies, we're developing the fellas so that they can have the success that they need, not just for this season with you, maybe for next season with you or next season with someone else or whatever the case may be, right? We want to make them, build them up, and so that they can be better, right? Another question I've got for you coaches is, are you coaching effort or just the outcome, right? Because for some of us, right, we are allowing uh, the more talented player to necessarily to carry everything, right? That's not what we want to do. We want to coach that effort from top to the bottom of our lineup, right? For us as coaches, we look at this big picture wise, right? Are our bottom feeder players, if you will, making improvements? But also, are our top players getting better? And if our best players aren't getting better, then are we, again, back to question number one, are we truly developing our players right now? So player development, guys, that's a big thing for me to you. Like, go out and truly take that time to develop your guys and develop your gals. And again, that's very, very hard to do in game settings, right? You got to do that in one-on-one, two-on-ones, three-on-one, four-on-one, even lessons. You got to do that in practice as a team, right? Where you guys can truly focus on, the knit and the grit of getting better and developing into a player that is more well-rounded, more sound, and more efficient with their game as they progress. So, anyway, guys, those are my two pieces of advice for you players and for you coaches. I hope you've enjoyed this show. I'm going to wrap this up with a thought you should know moment, and it actually brings me full circle back to a few episodes back, but also just back to this initial point of advice for the players. Be exactly where your feet are right now, right? Be in the moment, be focused, be dialed in on who you are and what you're doing, right? Because listen, at the end of the day, this game does not define you, right? It can make you better, it can help you grow, it can further develop who you are as a human being, right? But be where your feet are today. Own the moment, love the moment, live in the moment. And sometimes it's worth just taking a deep breath and slowing things down and then stepping back up to the plate. So, anyway, guys, we're going to wrap this show up like we always do. So please let every single thing you do be done in love, because at the end of the day, that is truly what makes this beautiful world go round. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.